Greetings and salutations, ladies, menfolk, and non-binary viewers. Welcome to another episode of Game Break, an ongoing series where me and my crew take a break from our creative endeavors and play some video games. Thank you for joining me today as we continue on Everlasting Summer on this Visual Novel Friday. Now, last time round, we met our protagonist, Semyon, and accidentally fell asleep on a bus and ended up at a pioneer camp. Not quite sure how we managed that, or just what we're gonna have to do to get back home, if we want to get back home, or if we're just gonna chill here for a while. But, hey, let's find out. See what we're up to. Alright, right where we left off. Oh, I didn't think to look and remember all the voices. Oh well. New recording, new voices, new day, new everything. Haha! We entered the cabin. Inside, it looked something similar to what I'd imagined. 2 beds, a table, a couple of chairs, a simple carpet on the floor, a wardrobe. Nothing special, but at the same time, it felt homelike and cozy. Although this room was almost in the same state of disorder as my own flat. Doesn't look that disorganized to me. The girl standing near the window appeared to be about 25 years old. Nature had obviously gifted her with a pretty face and a good body. At least one thing can keep you happy in this pandemonium. The locals are beautiful. Really? We're gonna go with that commentary, are we? Hey, it's the camp leader. You're finally here! Excellent. My name is Olga Dmitrievna. I really can't do Russian pronunciations, I'm sorry. I'm the camp leader. Nice to meet you. I'm Semyon. I decided to talk as if I wasn't surprised by anything that was going on. She came closer. Why is she coming closer? We've been expecting you since early morning. Have you now? You've been expecting me? Yes, of course. And when does the next bus come? 'Cause And why do you need it? Yeah, right. Why would I need it? Guess I shouldn't ask direct questions. The people here may react to them quite unlike how I'd prefer. And I doubt I'd get any answers. No reason, just curious. By the way, where are we exactly? Our mailing address, I mean. I wanted to send a letter to my parents to tell them that I got here fine. For some reason, I had the desperate idea that if I played along, I would find something out. Oh, but your parents called just a half hour ago. Sent their regards to you. What? Now, that's a surprise. So, can I call them? 'Cause I forgot to tell them something before I left. No. She gave me a sweet, spontaneous smile. Why not? We don't have a phone here. What? Exactly. Then how could my parents make a call to here? I've just come back from the district's central town. I talked with them there. Ah, so that's how it is. And can I somehow get to the town? No. I see where this is going. We're gonna be stuck here for a little while, aren't we? She kept the same smile. Why not?
Because the next bus only comes in a week.
I decided not to inquire how the troop leader managed to get there and back. I would get no answer anyway. Oh, hey, the other one. All this time, Slavia was standing next to me and seemed to find nothing odd in our conversation.
Oh, we need to find a uniform for you.
Okay. Do I have to wear the skirt, or are there shorts options, or what's the dress code here? I've got absolutely no desire to put on pioneer shorts or to wear the ridiculous red neckerchief. It's not that ridiculous. However, wearing winter clothes in summer isn't a great idea either. Yeah, I forgot about that. Right. Thank you. I wonder if I'm the only one here who finds it strange that someone's wearing a coat and winter boots in such heat.
Righto! I'll be off then, and you can get yourself acquainted with the camp. Don't forget to come to dinner in the evening.
Having said that, she walked out of the cabin. No, walked is not the right word. She rushed out. I ended up alone with Slavia.
I must go too. Got things to do. Take a walk, look around the camp a bit. See you in the evening.
So they're just gonna let the newbie wander the camp aimlessly. If there is no threat or catch to this, then this reality, as embodied by Slavia, becomes more and more appealing. For the first time today, I realized that it was awfully hot here. Well, you are in winter clothes. Although, obviously, my winter clothes were to blame for that. Well, yeah. I took off my coat and dropped it onto the bed. My pullover followed it. I was now wearing only the shirt. That's much better. All I could do now was follow their advice and go look around the camp. I'll try to find something out in the meantime. Passing the local residential district, I saw a pioneer guy coming my way. So it's not all women. Yay! Hello. And it was really a pioneer guy, not a pioneer girl. Apparently there were men, even in this kingdom of Amazons. Hello. You're new here. You must be Semyon, right? And how do you... Everyone knows already. I'm electronic, by the way. The real one. You can call me that. Really? Electronic was a robot character appearing in popular Soviet film and book series. He looked like an exact copy of a school kid called Sergei Chizkov. Electronic, the real one. Things were going from crazy to completely insane. Alright. Oriana also calls me cheesy. I'm sure she does. Cheesy? On toast with mushrooms? Because my last name is Chizkov. I see. Let me show you around. I accepted his offer, as it would have taken much longer to get to know this place alone. Fine, let's go. We ended up at the square again, as if this place was all there is to this camp. Lena was sitting on one of the benches reading some book. Electronic confidently approached her. Hello, Lena. Meet the new guy, Semyon. He started briskly. Hello. Well, you could say we've already met, in a way.
Yes.
Oh, clicked too fast. She looked away from the book for a moment, glanced at me, blushed, and went back to reading, as if not noticing that we were still there. Alright, let's go on. I was at first surprised that meeting this girl was reduced to a couple of words, but then I thought that it was better that way. Electronic's vigorous activity did not fit well with Lena's shyness. Let's go. Next, we came to a building which I instantly identified as the canteen. And this here... I know, this is where you consume organic food. Yeah, something like that. Oh god, it's the creepy one. On the canteen's porch stood the unfriendly girl who hit me on the back earlier. At the sight of her, my joking mood vanished in a blink of an eye. Really, now is not the best time to be pulling this guy's leg, even though he is quite hilarious. First, I need to figure out what's what here, or at least where am I? Her over there, that's Alisa Dvachevskaya. I really wish I knew how to pronounce these, because it bothers me when I can't pronounce names, and I really don't know Russian names well enough to even try to get close, so I'm really sorry for butchering this. Be careful around her. Why? He spoke in a whisper. Dva means two in Russian. The whole nickname sounds exactly like Tuch in Russian, a reference to the late Tuch.ru, anonymous image board. Okay. Don't ever risk calling her Dvache. She doesn't like that.
What did you say? What did you call me?
She must have heard him. In the blink of an eye, Alisa jumped down from the porch and dashed towards us. That is a face of terror. Alright, you'll manage from here onwards. Electronic took to his heels. Yeah, I'm not running after you. You're on your own, buddy. Alisa, running past, stopped for a moment and growled.
I'll deal with you later.
Deal with me? What did I do wrong? I added a forced, guilty smile to my words. But what am I guilty of? She made no reply and carried on chasing Electronic. Okay. Looks like I'll have to kill time alone, waiting for dinner. I decided to go east. At least in the direction where east would be in my world. Soon after, I found myself near a football pitch. A game was in full swing here. I guess watching it for a bit wouldn't do any harm. In my childhood and teen years, I was not a bad player myself, and even thought of going professional. But a few injuries in a row killed my desire to risk my health for the sake of uncertain chance in the game. Kids of different ages were running around the pitch. I could see a boy of about 10 and a girl of about 14 years old. A girl. Hey, that's Ulyana. Alright, so she plays football. What's so surprising? She seems a restless one, after all. I was standing quite far from the pitch, but she still noticed me. Ah, it's the little one.
Hey, you!
Ulyana shouted.
Wanna play?
I keep clicking too fast. I didn't know how to answer. On the one hand, running around for 10 minutes is no big deal. On the other hand, any wrong move in my situation could be my final one. But in any case, my attire wasn't exactly suitable for this weather. If I played in winter boots and warm jeans, I would sweat like a pig. And playing barefoot and without jeans would be simply unethical. Maybe another time, alright? I shouted in response, turning around and walked back. I was followed by Ulyana's screams about my pants, or about me being a pansy, something like that. Evening was falling, making me feel tired and empty after a day wasted with no real purpose. I came back to the square, sat down on a bench and gave an exhausted sigh. I'd better sit here and wait for dinner. After all, it's easier to search for answers when you're not hungry. They do give food to the people here, right? You know, it's curious how the simplest human needs can break the will to ponder on things, to strive for something. For example, I feel hungry now, so I care much less about where I am or what is happening to me. Could great people also be affected by this? And in that case, how did Spartacus start the slave uprising in ancient times? I can only conclude that I am not a great person, and it does not really matter which mechanism I serve as a gear in: society, the Matrix, or a weird pioneer camp. My thoughts were interrupted by the sound of bells chiming from a loudspeaker on a light pole. It must be dinner call. I headed toward the canteen. It was a good thing that now I knew where it was. Olga Dmitrievna was there, standing on the porch. I stopped and looked closely at her, as if I were expecting something. She looked back at me for a while, but at last came closer. Hi.
Semyon, what are you waiting for? Come in already.
Guess nothing bad can happen if I go with her. My stomach backed me up here. That's a lot of kids. Please tell me I don't have to try and voice all of them. The two of us went inside. The canteen looked like a canteen. I'd had a chance to visit a factory canteen at some point in my life. This one was exactly the same, just maybe a bit cleaner and more modern. Metal chairs and tables, glazed tiles on the walls and on the floor, unsophisticated tableware with the occasional crack. Guess that's what a canteen in a pioneer camp's supposed to look like.
Semyon, wait a moment. We'll find you a place to sit.
She looked around the place. Oh, come on now. Call them by their first name, please. Dvachevskaya. I can't do it faster than that. I'll get better at this.
Hold it right there.
Oh, and I didn't even do it in the voice. My bad. Oh, why do we need to use full names? Olga Dmitrievna shouted at Elisa, who was passing by.
What? What's up with your clothes?
Technically, well, no, she doesn't have the little neckerchief. Oh, no, it's on her wrist. Never mind. She does have the full attire, just creatively worn.
anything wrong with them?
Indeed, her attire looked somewhat provocative.
Get your uniform nice and neat right now. All right, all right.
Elisa got her shirt right and walked past, shooting an unpleasant glare at me. Well, then what did I do?
So, where can we find you a place to sit?
There weren't a lot of free seats.
Go over there, next to Ulyana.
Maybe I...
Yeah, it's fine. The food's already on the table, too.
Kinda weird. I had no other choice but to accept. Oh, no! I wanted to read that. Can I? Sorry about that, but I wanted to read. Of course, there was the probability that the cutlets were poisoned with curare, the mashed potatoes generously seasoned with arsenic, and the glass filled with excellent antifreeze instead of compote. But it all looked so tasty that I had no chance to resist. Don't like doing that.
Hey!
What do you want? I replied rather rudely to Ulyana, who was sitting next to me.
Why didn't you play football with us?
Because of my clothes, said I, pointing at the source of the problem.
Oh, all right then, eat.
Oh, nice little piano riff. However, there wasn't much left to eat. My cutlet was missing from my plate. Only she could have done it. No, more precisely, none but Ulyana could have done it. Give me back my cutlet.
In a big family, you snooze, you lose. It can cost you a cutlet if you're careless.
Give it back, I'm telling you. Oh, dang it, I'm hungry. I looked at her menacingly and was about to reach out my hand.
See? I don't have it.
And indeed, Ulyana's plate was empty. It seems that this little girl eats as fast as she steals someone's cutlets.
Take it easy, we'll work something out now.
She grabbed my plate and ran off. There was no point in following her. If they wanted to poison me here, they could have done it in a much easier way. Fair point. About a minute later, Ulyana returned and handed me the plate with a steaming hot cutlet on it. Okay. It's more potatoes than cutlet, but...
Here's one for the starving.
Thanks. It was all I could say. I was so hungry that my suspicions were gone in a flash. I picked up the cutlet with my fork and... That's not a cutlet. What the? Some bug. No, not a bug. An insect. Gross. Got legs and it's wiggling. The plate fell to the floor and broke into pieces. The chair hit me hard on my legs while falling. I've disliked insects since I was a child, but when these creepy crawlies appear in my plate, that's just way too much. You little... Ulyana seemed ready for such a twist and was already at the door, laughing as if she had just heard a fresh stand-up comedy joke. I dashed after her. We ran out of the canteen. We were just a few dozen meters apart and I felt I would catch this little girl easily. I don't know, she seems like she's used to running. We ran through the square. past the club's house and ran onto the forest path. I started to gasp for breath. Why haven't you caught her yet? I should have quit smoking, I guess. Yeah, okay, well that explains it. Fair enough. Ulyana passed out of sight on the next turn. It can't be true that she managed to get away from me. It simply can't. I stopped and tried to catch my breath again. Night was falling. Looks like I'm lost. It's a bad idea to stay in the woods at night. Better get back to camp. However, I had absolutely no clue which way to go. You really got lost in the woods? Really? Well, gotta choose at random. Ah, jeez. This is something. I wandered for quite some time in the forest and even thought of crying for help, but finally I saw the camp's fence beyond the trees. Everything fell back into place. The bus is gone. Well, yeah, it's not going to stick around forever. I mumbled quietly. On the one hand, there was nothing strange about that. The bus couldn't just stay there forever. On the other hand, it meant that there was someone driving, because buses do not drive themselves. Fair point. Or do they? This world seemed too normal, but every event here had at least two explanations for it. An ordinary, real, everyday explanation, and a surreal one. Certainly, the driver could have just been off for a snack, and I left too soon, and that's why. In any case, this is not the place for me. Whether the bus drives itself or not was probably an important question, but it was much more important to know how I had got here at all. And in where this here was. The fields and the woods, stretching towards the horizon, had no answers. There was nothing familiar about them. Strange, odd, and alien world. However, at the same time, it was absolutely not frightening. Either my self-preservation instinct decided to resign from its job, or all this running around the camp and the local pioneers had lulled me so much with their carefree normality that I was simply forgetting what had happened to me just a couple of hours ago. Although I probably just had no strength left to worry. All I wanted was some peace, calmness. I wanted to just have a break from it all, and only after that would I continue looking for answers, ready and reloaded. However, that would be some time later. And what about now? Can I allow myself to relax? You didn't eat, aren't you hungry yet? It got completely dark, and in any case it was better to spend the night in the camp. I was about to head back when someone came up silently from behind.
Hello, what are you doing here so late?
It was Slavia standing before me. I was so surprised that I jumped.
So you didn't catch Ulyana, did you?
She smiled. I nodded, disappointedly, and sighed.
No wonder. No one ever has.
Yeah, she's a real rocket girl. She could have found a better use for her energy than looking for adventures.
You must be hungry. You didn't manage to have dinner after all.
Indeed, I had completely forgot about my hunger, but after these words of hers my stomach drew attention to itself by giving a traitorous rumble. Slavia smiled.
Let's go then.
What, is the canteen still open?
It's all right. I have the keys.
Why do you have the keys? The keys?
Yes, I have keys to all the facilities in the camp.
How come?
Well, I'm something like the camp leader's aide here.
Good reason. I see. Well, let's go. It was an offer you can't refuse. When we reached the square, Slavia stopped in her tracks.
Excuse me, I should warn my roommate that I'll be late. She's so punctual herself that she'll be worried otherwise. You go on to the canteen and I'll come in a minute, all right?
All right. I really did not expect to find somebody aside from myself there at such a late hour, and that somebody was apparently trying hopelessly to open the door. Without any secret thoughts, I walked up onto the porch. Oh god, it's the scary girl. The lockpicker turned out to be Elisa. I should have probably kept off and waited. She looked at me intently for a while, then said,
Don't just stand there, give me a hand or something.
Meaning? It's pretty straightforward, come on.
Help me open the door.
Why?
'Cause I want some buns and kefir. Dinner wasn't big enough.
Is that really a good idea?
Aren't you hungry yourself, huh? Ulyana didn't let you have a normal dinner, did she?
She smiled sarcastically. It's true, she didn't. It's fine. Slavia will come now and...
What?
Guess I shouldn't have said that.
I'm off then.
Oh.
And you'll pay for this. You owe me 2 already.
What do you mean 2? Having said that, Elisa disappeared into the night. And what was the first one? Yeah, I want to know. What's the count and why? Slavia didn't keep me waiting for too long.
Is everything all right?
Yeah, why are you asking?
No reason. It's nothing.
It would be better if I didn't tell her about Elisa. Everything's fine. I said that and immediately heard a note of dishonesty in my voice.
Well, shall we go?
As for Slavia, she seemed not to have noticed anything. Or at least she was pretending she hadn't. We entered the canteen.
Wait a bit, I'll go get something.
I sat down on a chair and obediently waited for my savior. My dinner was simple, a few buns and a glass of kefir. Is that kefir, kefir, kefir? I really need to look into this stuff. I'm curious. I'm an English major, I like linguistics and pronunciations. No wonder. I bet hungry pioneers finished everything off. However, even that was far better than most of my usual diet. Slavia sat across the table and looked at me while I was eating. Is there something on my face?
No, just...
She smiled.
So, how did you like your first day in the camp?
Well, I don't really know. It's silly to ask someone who suddenly found himself in a different reality whether he liked the food in the canteen, the camp leader, or his assigned hut.
It's alright, you'll soon get used to it.
Slavia stared out the window dreamily. Frankly speaking, I have no desire to get used to such things, but as for her, she doesn't know. Or at least she wants me to think that she doesn't. Well, all in all, it's nice here. I had to somehow break the awkward silence.
Do you think so?
She asked without any interest. Yeah, this place is so... I wanted to say retro, but I managed to hold that back. After all, it was retro for me, but what about them? It might be the only kind of life they knew. If the term life was applicable here at all. So
how?
She watched me closely, as if something important depended on my answer. Well, I don't know. Lovely. Yeah, it's lovely here.
I guess you're right.
She smiled again.
It's very good that you think so.
Why?
Well, not everyone likes it here.
And what about you?
Me?
Yes.
I love it here. It's great.
Then you don't need to worry about what other people think.
Well, I don't really worry.
Slavia laughed. This conversation seemed to be leading me far astray from where I wanted to get to. And
you're worried yourself.
Really? Why do you say so?
Well, when someone is chewing so intensely.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Couldn't bring myself to be more cautious around this girl. But why her in particular? Why not any other local inhabitant? Every one of them looked completely normal to me. Precisely normal. So normal it sent chills down my spine and into my marrow. Normal. Not like a neighbor with a power drill in one hand and a subwoofer in the other. Not like a passenger you can often meet in a subway or on public transport. Not like a coworker at the next table in an open-plan office. And not even like a friend who only differs from other humans in his constant insistence. All of them looked normal, as I would expect them to be, with their own downsides but without any superpowers. And Slavia was also cute. I glanced at her stealthily, not knowing what to say.
I'm sorry, I wanted to show you the camp but ran off my feet.
I didn't miss anything while on my own, I guess.
Are you sure you haven't missed anything at all?
She smiled so brightly that I had to drop my eyes in confusion. Well, how would I know? It's my first day here.
Okay, and what have you seen so far?
I've seen the square, this canteen, the football field.
And what about the beach?
Just from afar.
You really should go there. Or let's do it together.
Can I at least get a bathing suit first? Yeah, okay. We will. Her naturalness started to scare me, but then I thought, what if everything that happens here is how it's supposed to be and this world looks strange only to me, while for them it is normal. Maybe I was thrown into the past. Yes, that would explain a lot. Can I ask a stupid question?
No.
Oh, well. Slavia smiled and stood up from the table.
It's late. Can you find the way to Olga Dmitrievna's by yourself?
Of course I can, but why should I go there?
She'll settle you with someone.
What for? Probably this question seems stupid because Slavia burst into good-natured laughter.
You need to sleep somewhere, right?
That makes sense.
Fine. I'll be off then. Good night.
Night. It's strange that she left in such a hurry. A bundle of keys left in the door lock caught my attention. I was going to catch up to Slavia, but where does she live? And knocking on every door during the middle of the night didn't sound like a bright idea. Let's take the keys. I better take them. I'll give them back tomorrow, because who knows what happens here at night. Such thoughts gave me chills. It's me who needs to be careful here in the place. The night, though dark, wasn't silent at all. One could hear chirping crickets, the songs of the night birds, and rustling trees from everywhere. A sudden desire to follow Slavya's advice and go to the camp leader's cabin appeared. I don't know why, but the sight of the unknown bronze builder of communism put me in a constructive mood. I sat on the bench and started to recall everything that happened today. That was all my constructive mood could offer. Here was much brighter than near the canteen, and tardy pioneers were running by, so this place didn't seem scary at all. A bus, summer camp, girls. I was so tired from everything new and strange that I could not come up with a single explanation for what was going on. I heard a barely noticeable rustle nearby. I shivered and looked in that direction. A girl. Reading a book. Lena. I decided to move closer and talk. She was the only new person I had met here without exchanging even a few words. Hi, what are you reading? Lena was so surprised that she even jumped. Oh. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
Never mind.
She blushed and stared at the book again. So what are you reading? On the cover was written, Gone with the Wind. It's a good book. Fun read. Praise the book. A good book.
Thanks.
Honestly speaking, I haven't read it, but I think that such literature suits her very well. Lena didn't seem to be interested in continuing the conversation. Well, if I'm bothering you...
No,
she answered, while still looking at the book. Can I sit beside you for a while?
Why?
And really, why? Maybe just because I was very tired of having company, and having company is better than being alone? And maybe I wanted to try and find something out from her? I carefully examined Lena. But no, I doubt that. Well, I don't know. I'm not allowed to?
Feel free.
But if I'm bothering you...
No, you're not.
I can leave. Just say. Oh my god, the awkwardness.
Everything's all right.
Okay then. I sat on the end of the bench carefully. After such an intense talk, staying here was the last thing I wanted, but it wouldn't be nice to just stand up and leave. That didn't really go well, huh? Lena hasn't answered anything. It seems I made a fool out of myself. But if Ulyana was here, she'd have a good laugh at me. Do you enjoy being here? I recalled the Slavya's question and thought it would be a good start for a conversation.
Yes.
She smiled slightly. Guess I like it too. Lena definitely isn't very sociable and probably can't carry on a meaningless conversation as easily as Slavya, but there was something about her that attracted attention. Is it because she reads books? 'Cause that's always awesome. Like a momentary glimpse of a reflection in the glass on a rainy autumn evening, which makes you turn around and stare into darkness, searching for something that you saw out of the corner of your eye. That's poetic. Of course, you weren't able to distinguish or understand what it was, but it still felt so tempting. Lena was still reading the book without paying any attention to my presence. And I had no intention of asking her anything about this camp or this world in general. beautiful night.
Yes.
How in a world would you start a conversation with her?
It's late. I have to go.
Yes, it's quite late.
Good night.
Night. There was something strange about this girl. At first glance, she is a typically shy and modest pioneer girl, but the mystery of Lena took its own place in the massive list of mysteries about this camp, which I had started to put together in my head. Great, we have a whole list now. Can we go to bed yet? Lazy evening. There's nothing like a good time with nothing to do. There's sleep to do. I headed toward Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. The light in the house was on.
Hello, Semyon. You're quite late.
Yeah. I went for a walk to look around the camp.
All right. You will be sleeping here.
Wait, what? She pointed her finger at one of the beds. Right here. I was a bit surprised.
Yeah, it's something wrong? We are out of free cabins anyway.
The camp leader smiled, but I rather think it was just out of politeness.
You do want to be a decent pioneer, don't you?
There was a clear emphasis on the word decent. Yep, sure. I was lost in thought for a moment. Don't you mind it, mademoiselle? Why are we using this language? She looked at me oddly. She should be. With surprise and some offense in her eyes.
A pioneer should respect their elders,
Olga Dmitrievna said strictly. Of course, he should. No one argues with that. I blathered, not realizing what was wrong.
Shouldn't you also?
She stared at me. Under such a gaze, even mithril forged by the best dwarf masters from the deepest dungeons would melt. Should I what? What's up? Really, Toots? You're gonna get smacked upside the head. Annoyance and a lack of understanding made me raise my voice.
You must address adults appropriately.
Yes, of course, there are a lot of strange things here. But this girl is just a couple years older than me. Or maybe even younger. But I decided not to argue. Well, just a few minutes ago I would never have called her an adult. I have to admit that she was also given a strong character. And in any case, I wasn't in a position to argue. As you say, ma'am, I mumbled.
That's much better. That is how a decent pioneer should conduct himself. And now it's time to sleep.
Honestly speaking, I was going to become neither a decent nor an indecent pioneer. Just yesterday I wasn't going to become a pioneer at all. But do I have a choice now? If you don't want to, we'll have to make you. This is the motto Olga Dmitrievna was probably going to use. Oh, darkness. I climbed onto the bed and closed my eyes only to realize how tired I was after today. Something hammered in my head awfully, as if my brains had started a night shift. And they seemed to be aimed more at rolling steel than working on something more sensitive. The bus flew through my mind. The square with the monument. The canteen full of pioneers. And the malicious face of Ulyana. Slavia, in the bikini. Lena. and even recalling Elisa didn't give me too much of a negative feeling. What if I'm here for good? Oh hey, day 2. Cool. Well, I think that's a good spot to call this an episode. Looks like we made it through day 1. Seems that we've met most of the cast of characters, if not all of the main ones. Possibly, perhaps, maybe, why not? Tune in next time round to find out what happens on day 2. Do we actually get a uniform? Do we return the keys? Do we actually find out just what goes on in a pioneer camp? Tune in to find out. But in the meantime, get back to being creative already.